Hey, hi. I hope each and everyone are able to hear my voice. If anyone are not able to hear me, can you please let me know? One second. I'm trying to fix my noise. Guys, you're able to hear my voice clearly or you're getting any noise? One second, I'm checking self. Can someone please confirm me you're able to hear my voice clearly or you're getting any disturbance? Little echo. Guys, now how you're able to hear me? I'm unable to open. Jayachandran, if possible, can you please try to open in any another device? Maybe because of security issues, you're getting that message. That is from your side, Jayachandran. The particular message what you are pinging in the chart is because your settings are related to that. That is in restricted mode from your side. Unable to able to hear you. Okay, right. Thank you. Thanks, Pankaj. But there is resound. Praveen, are you able to hear resound now also? Oh, where is it? Mike. Okay, there it is. Guys, can you please tell me someone is a little bit better than previous, or still you are facing the same problem with my voice? Yes, how is my voice now? Hello. Okay, I'm back to the channel. Okay, right. Pankaj, can you please maximize your YouTube live streaming screen? Then you are able to see it in a good resolution. It's HD only. Maybe if you are seeing in a small screen, it will be in a blur mode. Okay, data types. Okay, in our previous session, we completed until int. In int, we saw decimal, binary, octal, and hexadecimal. These are the different, types and categories you can consider inside to the integer. Now we're going to discuss about a float. What is our thing? Uh, our next target is we need to discuss about float. Okay. Float means nothing but if any particular value contains decimals, then we'll consider it as a floating value or float value. For example, examples for floating value 10.9, 99.9, 10.0, 1.0. Generally, what these particular decimal values will indicate, if you are increasing the number of decimal values, it means increasing the precision, increasing the accuracy of that particular value. You don't neglect the floating values. Floating values also have a significant meaning. You know what it means? If you are increasing the floating values means at that particular significant values, precision or accuracy also will increase a lot. Okay, and to represent this particular floating value, we'll use a float data type, and when you check this particular data type, you are able to see the float. Okay, next after float, complex. Okay, there is not too much to discuss about complex, but I'll just introduce you. Complex. Now, maybe in your schooling, if you remember it or not, but a plus ib is a complex form of a number. Complex form. In this particular complex form, this particular specific a is a real part. This particular session is considered as a imaginary part. I'm I'm actively looking into your chart. If anyone have any questions or concerns, please mention in the chat. I'll reply. Okay, imaginary part. But in this particular Python, we'll represent complex numbers with a little bit of difference. A plus, here we are using just j. And what anyone will know, what is the value of this particular I? I is nothing but square root of minus 1. Okay, this is related to complex number. For example, 23 plus 42 This is a complex form. This is a complex number. Example for complex number. A is equal to complex number. Real part is 23. 42 is imaginary part. Okay. Each and everyone are clear with this particular complex form? I hope it's very simple. Okay, next after complex, okay, complex completed, float complex. Okay, this one also completed, right? Now Boolean type. Guys, previously I told to you, but once again I'm telling you. Boolean type means yes or no, or 0 or 1, or true or false. These are generally we learn from our basic schooling mathematical knowledge. But you need to remember two things at here. This is a programming language, so that is the reason we'll have some specific rules and regulations to write and represent and usage. Here, to represent Boolean values, you need to use capital T in true, capital F in false. Otherwise, it doesn't consider as a Boolean operator, Boolean values. If you're using small t in place of capital T or small f in place of capital F, that will be considered as a variables or just like as a names or like an identifiers, and we didn't provide any value, right? So that is the reason it will ask an error. It will ask, please assign this value, or value didn't find that particular type of things you're able to see. Okay, floating on the complex thing are completed, right? Once we'll explain about Boolean value also, then we'll go to Jupyter Notebook and we'll do some practical exercises. Meanwhile, you also can open your Jupyter Notebooks. Okay, Boolean. But actually, when you are using by using some specific functions in Python, whenever you're checking its data type, it will represent it with this particular bool. Remember, the values, exact values are true and false. Not technically, but logically, which we know true means 1, false means 0. Okay, right. What are the different operations you're able to do and all those things we'll see now related to integer, float, all those things. I'm opening the Jupyter notebook. Okay, right. Previously, we checked data types. In the data types, what we discussed. Okay, we didn't discuss anything. And identifiers. Okay, right. And identifiers we discussed, right. Okay, see guys. Remember one thing. Whenever you're writing any code, comments are must and should, and that is a very good practice. I value came. Anand Kumar, actually, that is a representation. Imaginary thing means, if you remember in your schooling, each and everything is not a real. We have a real numbers and imaginary numbers that in the number system, which is not existed in our regular viewpoint. That's out of context, and you know, if I want to say too deeply, I'm also don't know completely about the imaginary numbers about it. Okay, here first I'll go with the integer part. Integers. So see, I'm just defining couple of integers. A is equal to 10, B is equal to 12, C is equal to 20. Here what I'm doing, I'm assigning values to variables, which are values and which are variables. LHS is variable, variable name, which I'm using. Nothing but value we are assigning to variable. Nothing but it's a memory location where it need to store its particular value. Okay, this is also an information, right? So that is the reason we need to keep it in quotes. If you didn't keep it in quotes, a hash in comments, if you execute this particular thing, you will get error. Why? Because this particular sentence is not a Python code, or it is not following, or it is not obeying any Python rules and regulations. So that is the reason you're getting error. So that is not the Python means you don't need to be keep alive. You just make it as a comment, then it will be very easy. If you execute a code, your values are going to be assigned. Okay. Now what I did, I take three values and I take a three variables and assigned it. Now I'm checking it. What are the values available and what are the values available to it? Okay. Just this, whenever we are mixing this thing, this particular thing I'll tell you. But until now, I'll use print function to display all these values. 10, 12, 20. Okay, clearly these values are there. Okay. If you want to know the ID of this particular, where these are located, then to know the unique ID of a, just you can see, I'll show you. ID of A, ID of B, ID of C. These are the locations where this particular values are shared and values are available. Okay, and I told you, right, one type function is there, it will give you the type of this particular thing. Okay, we can use type function, that is all the integers which we are mentioning are able to denote with int. Okay, right. Uh, Previously we discussed it, right? A is equal to 100. Now I am checking its type. It is a integer. Clear. Now, if I want to convert this particular decimal number, how many things are there? Decimal, how many number systems we have? How many forms in integers itself? Decimal, binary, octal, hexa, decimal. Total four categories are there. In these four categories, you can able to Python's default decimal number system is default of Python. Okay, but now I'm taking a number a is equal to okay 60. The simple one I'll try to make it. A is equal to 60, which is in the decimal form. Why? Because Python default designing is in decimal form. Okay. Now, if I want to see the same value in binary format, it's very simple. Just you see bin of A. Sorry. Why you got the syntax error at here? Can you please see? This is a comment. This comment also I'm executing, but this particular thing is not a Python code, right? So that is the reason. That is the reason it thrown error. Okay. Now, if you observe clearly, in our previous sessions we discussed, what is the meaning of this particular 0b? The first two letters will indicate the value which you are able to see on your screen is starting with 0b. It means that is a value which is in the form of binary. Okay. Now, if you want to see the same value of 60 in octal format, you are able to see 0074. If you want to see the same number in hexadecimal format, you can able to see 0x3c is the meaning of or decimal value equivalent in binary, octal, and hexadecimal. Each and everyone opened and you tried these particular four conversions. Now I'll tell you, see, type of 0x A, B, C, D, E, F. What you're able to see? You got an error because in the place of O, in the place of 0, I used O. Generally, that mistake I'll do, but I don't know about you. You need to be careful. Why? Because it will be looking like same, but we'll face a lot of problems related to it. Now, if you check the data type of any of these particular values, you will get as integer. Why? Because these all are integral part of the integer category. It's either decimal or binary or octal or hexadecimal. All these four categories will be in this particular integer data type. Okay. I hope each and everyone are clear with this particular thing, integer. you can convert from any base to any base with help of these particular functions. What are the functions available to you? If you want to convert from hexadecimal to binary, you can convert by using this particular binary function. For example, see, now I want to convert this particular value into binary form. If I want to convert this particular value, this particular entire value into octal, you can just use this and you'll get that particular value in octal form. If you want to see it in a default view as a decimal system, what's the value of this particular thing in decimal system? You see, this value also gives the same thing. This value also will give the same thing. Python default understanding is nothing but decimal. So that is the reason you no need to use any function to view the particular value in decimal. But if you want to see the value in form of any other base, then you need to use the base conversion functions. What are the base conversion functions? The functions itself you are able to observe. For decimal, not required anything. Binary, if you want to see any of the another base to binary, you can use bin, OCT. Remember one thing, you don't forget, if you are using binary 0b, 0o, 0x, that is a capital or small or doesn't care. Okay, right. This is related to integer part, story of integer. Now, now we'll discuss about a float. Okay, okay, float. For example, how can I say, right, one value is there, a is equal to 67. If you check its data type with help of the type function, you're able to see integer. Okay, and now p 67.0, its type is float. Can you please try to respond? What is the answer you will get for this one and this one? Is it a true or false? Is it a true or false? I'm waiting for your answer. 67 and 67.0 are equal or not equal? Both are different data types. That is okay. Now I'm just executing it. Whenever you are using equality operator, it will check the value. 67 and 67.0 are same. So that particular equation is true, it is saying. Okay, but those are two different data types. Now you need to remember, if you have a very minute floating point also, that will be considered as a floating point. It's a minor or major or big one, so that's not a big deal. Now, if you check, how you can able to represent this number? I'll just introduce you a little bit fadey thing. How you going to represent this particular thing, guys? How many different ways? 1.23. How this particular 1.23 came into the picture? 123 by actually 10 to the power of 2. It came into this position. Now 123 into 10 to the power of minus 2. It need to decrease 2 levels. So from there you got it 1.23. Okay. Can anyone will please tell me the value of 2.3E4? What's the value of 2.3E4? Okay. Now I'll show. You have a question and you have answer in front of you. Can you please try to understand how this particular 23,000 came from 2.3 e to the power e4? Oh, I revealed it. Yes, guys, that's true. Why? Because here e means exponent. 2.3 10 to the power of 4. 10 to the power of 4 means 10 to the power of 2 into 10 to the power of 2, simply 100 into 100. 100 hundreds, nothing but 10,000 into what is the value we have? 10,000 into 2.3. Now 1 point cancel. 23,000. Okay. Now what is the use by using this particular E? What is the use of this particular E form? If we are using E, what will be the benefit we are gaining with this? For example, if you want to represent this much number, it will occupy a huge space. Comparative to 2, I'll tell you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 zeros and 1 zero, 8 zeros. What's the value of 3.4E8? We'll see. Did it right or wrong? 3.4E8. This is the value. This is in decimal form. It is taking more number of bits to store this particular data. But in exponential form, we can able to store huge amount of data and more huge values in a simpler format. Okay. Now, the use of this particular floating is you can able to store the values in different forms to save the space and to decrease the burden when we are processing the data. This is related to float. Now, the next one is float complex. See, complex. Complex, I'm changing it into markdown. Now I'm able to see type of, it is a complex data type. Now I'll tell you a very small functions will be there. A dot cl, b dot, oh sorry, a dot image. As you're able to see, you're able to extract real value and imaginary value from the complex data type. Okay, maybe you'll get some people will get some intelligent doubts now. You're able to see either we need to define j front or after. After the value only, you need to mention that particular value belongs to imaginary category 34, and that particular 34 belongs to imaginary category. That is the representation you need to remember. And what is the purpose of this particular one? To extract real part from, sorry, spelling mistake. Real part from imaginary number. Just the complex number and its continuous real part. And this particular image will be useful as imaginary part from complex number. Okay, this is related to complex number. Okay, anyone have any questions related to imaginary number, integer part or base conversions or floating value, or how we are able to extract this particular value? Anyone have any questions related to it? Okay, right. Now we are moving to Boolean category. Now, A is equal to true, B is equal to false, C is equal to true, D is equal to false. I execute it. Here, if you observe, you are able to see some arrow symbol nearer to that particular line, or in that line error is there. That is the indication. You need to remember, this is the arrow symbol. What you are able to see is the indication to show you the error. If you want to become a good programmer, the must and should thing which you need to do is, each and every time whenever you are doing any mistake, please go through the error message or syntax or error messages related to that. Okay, right. Now I'm just commenting it. Why? Because why it is not executing true and false. I didn't mention in a proper format. I used the small case letters. So that is the reason. This is not a, what is the message you are able to see? True is not defined. It is considering as some variable name or some identifier name. It should contain definitely a value. Otherwise, if it is a string, we need to represent this particular thing with single quotes or double quotes. That is the only way. So first, what I am doing, I am removing this particular thing from here, and sorry, see, I executed it. Now A means true, B means false. I'm checking its type. You're able to see with the letters bool. Now I'm checking its IDs. Okay, these are the IDs where this particular value is stored. Now, simply I'll tell you to increase some curious. What is this answer? Can you please tell me your answer in the chat? Jaychandran, the thing is decimal number system means not 1.0. Those are decimal values. If you have a fractional points, I mean to say like 0.05, 0.09, that is considered as a decimal values, decimal points or floating points we will consider. Decimal number system means if you are creating a number by using the, if you are creating a value by using the numbers from 0 to 9, and those are count of 0 to 9 are nothing but 10. By using this particular 10 numbers, you are creating a value. That number system is a decimal number system. You are using two values, those are 0 and 1. With help of that 0 and 1, you are creating value, that is a binary number system. With help of 0 to 7, it means 8 values, your 8 numbers, you are creating value, that is octal. You are using 0 to F, 16 16 numbers to create a value, that is hexadecimal. Difference between integer and decimal. Decimal is a part in integer. All these things are integer categories, which I showed at here, which I showed here. You're able to see if you type check this particular hexadecimal or binary or octal or decimal, all these things will be considered as an integer data type. Okay, D is in small letter. Here, this is man true plus true. Now you will get error. Why? Because this particular it is considering as the identifier or variable. It is looking for its value. Now false plus false 0. Right, right, Divya. Right. False plus true. Okay. I'll tell you detailedly when we are discussing the operators, how these particular Boolean values are very important for us. And along with that, in flow control statements, when we are discussing about loopings and all those things, I'll tell you how important these particular things. Each and everyone are clear with this particular Boolean also? Integer, float, complex, and Boolean. If someone reply in the chat, if you're okay with this or anyone have any other doubts. Why? Because we'll move to the next category of data types. Those are a sequence data types like a string, list, tuple. Don't worry, we'll discuss very detailedly. Who are clear, who don't have any doubts, you can please mention everything is clear or no doubts. How many people are there? Okay, 6 people, maybe 5. Divya, Praveen, Pankaj, Jayachandran. As I'm trying to make it slow and simple as much as possible. If still anyone have any doubts, definitely, or any suggestions, you can please share with me. Okay, now, and now I'm going to discuss about string. What is a string, guys? Generally, string means nothing but a sequence of characters. Generally, how we'll define in another all the languages. String will be represented with help of either in between enclosed with single quotes or enclosed with double quotes, but not with a single quote and double quote. Okay, either you need to use both single quotes or both double quotes, but not single quote and double quote. For example, you can represent with this, and you can represent with this. This one also string, this one also string. And remember, in Python, there is no character data type, even though if you are able to find out any character, that is also considered as a string only. Here, this is also a string. This is also a string, not a character. Okay? If you represent a string, how you will represent the string, how you will check its data type, I will show you. Then after that, we'll go to a very important concept that is called indexing concept. That will be, it doesn't leave you. Once you learn that particular thing, it will continue along with your all the learnings and all those things. String. Okay, you're defining a string. Now, to check its data type, how you're going to represent the data type of string with help of str. With help of str. Now, you can able to perform lot of operations related to it. The same thing. Okay, sorry. See, both are strings. If you represent a string with single quotes or double quotes, that will be a string. That will be considered as a enclose it with single quotes or double quotes. That will be considered as a string itself. Now, I'm trying. Okay, I'm starting with a single quote or double quote and ending with a single quote. This is wrong syntax or representation of string. We're able to see EVOL, end of line. EVOL means end of line. String literal. It is starting with double quote. It means it will look for the double quote. Just you see. Now You're able to see? You need to manage open brackets and close brackets in other programming languages. Here, for that, like that, how you are following that particular fundamental, here also you need to maintain the balancing in the codes to print and to utilize in a proper way. Okay, now I'll tell you a simple thing. If you want to represent multiple lines string, then you need to use triple quotes. You can use triple quotes like this or like this. If you're using triple quotes means you can write your text in multiple lines and that represented with slash n. N means a new line. N means a new line. Okay, is it clear for everyone? Okay. Now we're going to discuss about indexing concept, and after explaining the indexing concept with help of the string, and the same concept will be helpful for you to access elements in list and as well as access elements in tuple, and as well as that indexing is a foundation for all your remaining data frames and data access and selection of the data from very big data frames and all those things. Very important concept. Please concentrate and ask me your doubts if you're not able to understand. Now, the concept what I'm going to discuss, how to represent index. I'm writing it here, one string. This is the string what I'm taking, guys. See clearly. You're able to see? I'll tell you continuously the functions what we learned. To know the data type. The function what we'll use is type function. Type of a string, you got it. And to know the unique identity. Nothing but we'll use ID and of a, we got the address also. And now a new function which I am going to introduce you to find the length. To find the length, len function which I am going to use, length of A, that is, sorry, spelling mistake, length of A is 43. I'll ask you a simple question. Can you please tell me spaces will be taken into consideration and quotes also taken into consideration? Which will be considered, which will be not considered as a count? In full stack data science program, how many characters are there? How many letters are there? Wherever there is a space, I am mentioning with the underscore symbol. After program, I mentioned any space. Yes, I mentioned space. Quotes, underscore. Okay. Total, how many characters? Spaces considered. Quotes, these quotes are considered or not as a single count? How F is 1, U is 2, like that. That quotes are also considered or not? Spaces, Pankaj and Jay replied, but what about the quotes? Quotes are considered or not? Spaces also considered? Okay, I'll show you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 27, 28, 32. Okay, with considering spaces and without considering spaces, I'll show you. 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41. What is our length? 40. 3. It means spaces are considered. Huh? Last, beginning, and end will not be considered. Yes, those are the default things. But here we used additional codes, right? In our yes, right. That is correct, Jayachandra. 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43. Okay? See now. It's very clear for you now. 43. This double code also considered, space also considered. But the string, if you need to identify it as a string, you need to use single quotes or double quotes at the start and end. But in between the single quotes and double quotes will be considered as a characters. Now, just you can see. Remember, okay, if I start indexing, it will take a lot of time. Okay, no worry. I'll just introduce it. If you want, indexing will be start from 0. In indexing, two categories are there. One is a positive indexing and another one is a negative indexing. Positive index is from left to right. Negative index is from right to left. Positive index will start from 0. Negative index will start from -1. If you want to access this particular element, it need to start from 0, right? Then if it is start from 0, then if you want to access this particular thing, string name, and you need to mention the index in square brackets 30. Then you are able to fetch this particular part of the string. Okay, part of the string. Now if you want to fetch this particular one, it's 34. Oh sorry, it's 39. It means it is starting with 0. You need to subtract another one, 38 in between the square brackets. Then you are able to extract this one. The same thing which you need to extract with help of the negative index, you need to count it from here itself. -1, -2, -3, -4, -5. If you use -5, then it will be easy and you are able to calculate the count of this particular thing, and you are able to fetch with help of the negative indexing the same space. You need to mention it in square brackets. Okay, each and everyone try to create a empty string and try to practice how to fetch all these things. And along with that, if you have any doubts related to previous discussed data type categories, you can please post the questions in our Telegram channel, and please try to attend as much as possible. Or so why? Because people are still joining, so that's the reason we're going in a somewhat slow pace. So once at least 10 or 15 people will be available uh, to that thing, then we'll plan for some long sessions. Okay. If anyone have any questions, can you please reach out me in the you can mention related to that particular comments, or you can reach out me in Telegram also. Okay. Thank you guys. Bye.